No taxes for anyone making under $150,000 a year. Well, apparently that's President Trump's ultimate tax plan, especially for the middle class, and I definitely like the sound of it. So at this point we all heard Trump's proposals with no taxes on tips or no taxes on overtime pay. However, the best thing I heard so far from Trump administration is actually no annual taxes for anyone making income of less than $150,000 a year. Now that information was revealed about a week ago, and it was a CBS interview with United States Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, so I will play you the short part of that clip in a second, and then we're gonna talk about it later. Before I do that though, just to give the credit where the credit is due, I have the full interview link in the description down below, and I would definitely suggest to check it out. Now let's watch that clip.
So who's more important, the people who sell stuff or the people who buy stuff? So we are the buyer of everybody's commodities, products, goods and services. Everything comes from us, right? Let them pay a membership fee. We all understand that model. Let them pay. How about we, you and I, and every single person we know pay less? How about no tax on tips? How about no tax on overtime? How about no Social Security? How about all those things? These are the kind of thoughts that will change America. I know what his goal is. No tax for anybody who makes less than $150,000 a year. That's his goal. And that's what I'm working for.
Okay, you heard that right there. Now, before that part of the clip, Mr. Lutnick was also talking about the taxes on imports, basically how tariffs can cover this gap in tax revenue. However, that's not the only way that I think this tax plan can actually work. So let's picture this for a second. And let's say this no taxes under $150,000 plan would actually take effect. Now with that, there would be less IRS workers needed to basically implement the tax code. The taxes would become very simple, especially for those making under 150 grand, obviously saving the government some money. The second good thing about it is that the average taxpayer in that bracket would save about $30,000 a year. Yes, imagine $30,000 in your pocket every year, or finally money that could pay off your debt like credit cards, auto loans and etc. And obviously, as importantly, some money for savings and even investments. So with all of that going on, we would have more purchase power, if you will, which would be great for our economy, of course, small businesses and etc. But additionally, even the government can recuperate some of this money simply because we would buy more things, so the sales tax revenue would increase as well. Now, just the idea itself of saving this money on taxes every year is totally amazing, especially for families struggling financially, but will this actually happen? I'm gonna be totally honest with you here. Personally, the chance of this going into effect, I think, is very small. I would give it about 10%, and that's probably being optimistic. And it's not because I don't believe in President Trump's tax cuts, or that this tax cut would be impossible to implement mathematically. Those are not the main reasons for it, at least not for me. I think the major reason that this actually won't happen is because our lovely politicians won't actually let it happen, and that's for various different reasons. Look, if you go back in our history, and yes, I'm talking about the taxation, the first tax that was ever implemented was at 3%. That was in 1861. Then that tax was struck down. Some different tax was proposed sometime later. That was only at 2% for anybody making over $4,000 a year. Obviously, that was different times. And the funny thing is, if I'm not mistaken, later that was struck down too, so there was no taxes. And finally, sometime later, our clever government made the income tax permanent, and that was just the beginning of it. Now, of course, our government is consistently expanding, especially from last few years, although it's slightly better with Trump being in. But generally speaking though, our taxes are consistently increasing. Politicians use the tax funds, aka our money, of course for some necessary things, but also for a lot of programs that we don't need to participate in, like helping some countries abroad instead of helping our own economy, right? So what I'm just trying to say is, generally the government is not looking to save our money, and for them to pass this kind of no tax law under any amount actually, I think it would be literally impossible, because they are used to this tax system when we pay a ton of money in taxes, and it doesn't seem like saving taxpayers' money is their main priority. Then again, maybe that's just my opinion. Now, talking about saving money, I use Capital One's high yield savings account for some time now. Here is the video about it, and as always, thank you for watching.